Good afternoon, friends, followers, and channel members. Happy Monday. Hope everyone's had a good start to the week. Here we are in a very sunny looking Barcelona, and we're flying to Milan, but not the normal airport today. We're off to Linate Airport, which isn't one of EasyJet's main haunts, but it is a real world route, so they do have a few flights that go to Linate, so thought we would check that out instead. I've never been there in the sim, so it's another new route for us on the channel to check out today, so welcome everyone on board who's going to fly with us down to, or rather up to Linate. Flight time's around 1 hour and 18 minutes. The operational flight plan has been pinned in the chat for those of you watching on YouTube. Welcome to our viewers as well who are also on Twitch, as we are streaming to both. I hope everyone's had a good weekend. I have been away since, well, I think our last stream may even have been Wednesday, so it's nearly been a week, hasn't it? So hopefully a nice steady route will take things a little bit gentle today, make sure we don't do anything daft and miss anything. So we'll hopefully not have too many things thrown at us that are going to require too much thinking. We do not have any ATC at the moment, so we're going to be on our own. We are on VATSIM, of course, as always. So let's get on board. Good morning to Gokpo, Talvin, Virtual Pilot, Mark, Dr. Magic. Good afternoon to you as well, sir. Right, Monday afternoon. What better way to spend a Monday afternoon than flying along in the virtual world of Microsoft Flight Simulator? Let's get on board, shall we? So oh, hello. Okay, that's I would say that's weird, but that's pretty much an everyday occurrence in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Those buildings don't stop any vehicles, they can just morph through them. Finish, Sim Pilot, good afternoon to you as well. So our aircraft is in the turnaround state as per normal for this time of day. Cardum, let's fly. We will fly, my friend. We will fly once we've gone through and set everything up. Right. Quick check on the current weather then. So QNH here is 1028. It's been such high pressure over Europe, hasn't it, for the last few days? And look at that, we've got great visibility coming into Milan as well. Mark, hello, good afternoon to you. Michael Jensen, hi mate, thanks for coming on board. So our operational flight plan then, let's have a look. The weather is just so great, I don't really see much need to take too much extra fuel. Look at our payload today. Look at the payload. That is so low. I think we've got about 92 passengers today. Pre-COVID times would have been turning the packs down, but obviously at the moment we now keep those on regardless. I think something like 140 passengers is the magic number. Anything below that, and you could set the packs down to low. But we'd certainly be doing it for this. But obviously, with COVID, we want as much air in the cabin as possible. So just over 4.5 tons of fuel is our plug fuel. And if we just have a quick look through the routing, nothing that's going to catch us out too much with regards to mountainous terrain beneath us. Look at those weathers, just look at that. Oh, very high cloud base, unlimited visibility, and our crosswind as well coming into Linate. Look at that, the crosswind of 0. So it really should be a plain sailing approach, famous last words. And if I just have a look at the destination airport, TAF and current weather, winds light and variable, cab okay, 13 degrees, and it's not really tipped to get any worse, so no real reasons why we shouldn't be able to get into our destination without any hiccups. Quick look down as well to check out the SIGMET leaving Barcelona. We've got this little area here where, can I just zoom in a little bit on that? No, I'm zoomed all the way in. So we've got a little bit of area here where we've got potential for a little bit of icing and light turbulence, but not very high, and we're not going to be in that particular region for very long. I really can't see the need to take any more than 5 tons of fuel, because what was our plug fuel? Yeah, 5 tons is more than enough. Dark Fury, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. Clash Credit as well, good morning. Good morning, good afternoon. Yeah, 5 tons, more than enough. So let's tell the guys to crack on with that. I can hear other aircraft spawning in. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but whenever an aircraft spawns in, the jetway moves, and you can hear the alarm. So it's getting busy at the airport. 5 tons of fuel. There we go. Right, so with our 5 tons of fuel on board, we can just do a few of the transit stop checks. So our weather radar is turned off, it's in op anyway. Cockpit lights are all fine. Just check the ECAM recall. Nothing to concern ourselves on there. We've currently got refueling is underway. All systems are normal. Good. Cockpit lights are fine. The hydrogen hydraulics, not the hydrogen. They are all the reservoirs where they should be. Nice and full, actually. Looking at that. Speed rate lever is retracted. In fact, we just basically do the overhead flow. So yeah, the overhead is where it should be. Actually, these should be turned off whilst refueling. That's naughty. Turn those off. Packs are off. That's as it should be. The QNH, that 102.8 is set. Coming down, the audio control panel is fine. The door is currently open. Dark Fury, you've been a member for 14 months. Dark, looking forward to the first flight of the week. Who do I get to clean my aircraft? I'd love to say the wife, but she'd probably slap me. Let's just check switching panel, thrust levers, engine masters, spoilers, flaps, parking brake is set, transponder squawking 2000. Up to the FCU then, 8000 will be an initial climb out. We'll get flight directors 1 and 2 turned on. Oh, try again, 1 and 2 turned on. Constraints can come on as well. Obviously all the screens and everything are all set. Right, so that's all good. We've got refueling is actually looks like refueling is completed, so that's nice. Let me get that APU started. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Then we can start getting some passengers on board. Let's just get the SD page back on. We can watch the APU start now. Right, well, let's check a few things out then. So first of all, we're going to go to the IRS. We've got our 3 nav green, and the aircraft status, we've got valid LEAP engines, and the database will run out on Wednesday. We'll have to remember to update that. Init request, so ACARS upload. Let's pop in some information from the SimBrief flight plan then. Let me just bring this in so you guys can see that as we're doing it. So the alternate is Lima, India, Papa, X-ray, and our call sign today. Oh, I don't know why it's not brought the flight number in, but anyway, it's Alpine 3202. No, 3203. It's a non-alphanumeric call sign today, which is quite rare. Flight number's in use. Are you joking me? Why is that in use? Let me just try that again. Alpine 3203. Right, okay. Well, it will make no difference to us. I tell you what we'll do. There we go. It actually makes no difference at all. It's just something you pop in there. It doesn't affect what the air traffic controllers see at the moment. Cost index of 4. Flight level 320. Temperature is -54. And what's the tropo? Actually, that tropo is pretty close. 34,300. It'll only get rounded up anyway. On to the flight plan then. Cloud gaming, guys, you're new to VATSIM, you need to learn a little bit more about ATC. Where can I do that? To be honest, Cloud, one of the best things you can do is just sit at an airport and listen in, or just watch the streams that you're watching right now, and hopefully that will help you build a little bit of confidence and show you what to do when we're either talking to air traffic control or if we're just on Unicom with no air traffic control around. Barry Bartson, good afternoon to you, my friend. Right, let's get the flight plan in. So we're going to be departing runway 07 right. And that's on the Agena 3 Romeo. Get that inserted. And just check. Ah, no discontinuities or duplicate waypoints. Great stuff. Then arrival into Linate is going to be the ILS 36 Zulu. And now this is using, do you know what, because it uses transitions in Italy, the flight plan isn't always quite accurate in SimBrief, so we're actually doing the, let me try and find that. So it's going to be the Gen 2 Romeo, I believe it is, if that's there for us. Gen 2 Juliet. Right, it's not actually there, so what I actually think this is... is we've got the Amox, it should be the Amox 1 Hotel with the Gen 2 Romeo transition. So let me just try that again. There it is at the top, look. Amox 1 Hotel with the Gen transition, if that's there. So we've got the initial approach fix is going to be Dixa. There it is. And then the transition appears on the right, look, Golf Echo November. And insert. That gives us a distance of 442 and our flight plan is 444. Spot on. Matt says, "Hi Captain, hope you had a relaxing weekend." Actually, I've been working away all weekend, Matt, so it's not been too relaxing compared to the madhouse that is my house. However, it was relaxing. Virtual Pilot says, "Try again for the call sign." Don't worry about it, Virtual. We're in now, and as I say, it doesn't actually affect anything. Cloud Gaming VATSIM does indeed work on FSX, so yes, it does. Alright, let me continue. So the RadNav page, let's get some charts up. Oh, actually, before we go any further, let's get some passengers on board, shall we? So we can just start the APU bleed. We need to leave that a minute as well. So the RadNav page, let's have a look at our departure. We've got Bravo Charlie November. We'll get that in there. There we go. And a fix for the engine out procedure here that we'll add to our fixes page is Lesba. Oh, there we go. Lesba. And I need to put in the 093 radial from there. Lovely. Okay, so that's the RadNav. Let's do the init B page. So our zero fuel weight today, look how low this is, thanks to not many passengers being on board. Zero fuel weight 52.1. Headwind of 4, and fuel planning says 4. We've got 5 tons on board. Takeoff weight then, we'll call that 57 tons. For our performance calculations in a moment, let all those numbers run. Fuel for the alternate, let's call that a ton. Which means, once calculated, we've got an extra 19 minutes of flying time. Beautiful, right, onto the performance page. Before we do that then, let's tell self-loading cargo that our passengers can get on board. Right, let's do the performance calculations then. Passengers are boarding now. Yeah, not very many, so it shouldn't take too long. So I'll get SimSmart up. Departing runway 07 right. Current METAR 09017. That's a little bit breezy. Outside air temperature 15 degrees, just a nice balmy temperature. Runway condition is of course dry. Anti-ice will be off for those cloudless skies. That takeoff weight, what did we say? 57. Oh, so low. 57. And takeoff CFG is forward. We're going to be flex. Config 1. This is should be a decent high flex calculation given how light we are. Yeah, look at that. And V1 and VR are the same. 129, 129, 132. Transition altitude here 6,000 feet. Thrust reduction and acceleration is rounded up to 1010. Engine out as well is 1010. Flaps 1 and a high flex of 70. It's almost like a private aircraft for those passengers today. Barry says, is it possible that for SimSmart the point as decimal separator does not work and you have to place a comma instead? No, if you place a comma, then SimSmart doesn't like it. So you need to make sure you do put a decimal place in there for the takeoff weight. Christian, you're doing a double default airport view today. I have got some scenery for Linate, so we'll check that out when we get there. Hi Nick, ODG John, good day to you. Green dot is 200. That actually matches up what Microsoft Flight Simulator is as well, which is nice to have that spot on. Right, happy with all the performance calculations. They're done. Passengers are loading. Okay, so let's do our before takeoff departure briefs then. So the weather here in Barcelona. Oh, let's just come off of Unicom for the moment. There we go. So, weather here in Barcelona, of course, it is beautiful skies, 15 degrees. Nothing that will prevent us from getting back in here in the case of an emergency return to the airport. And of course, given the passengers we've got, we are well below the maximum maximum landing weight. The aircraft is the experimental version of the fly-by-wire A320NX. No note times to be aware of. Threats to be aware of. I've not flown for nearly a week, so always the potential to be a little bit rusty. And of course our minimum safe altitude is 3,300 feet, and it should remain that way as long as we follow our planned departure route. We've obviously got terrain starting to rise to the north and the west, but that shouldn't be of any concern to us today. A little bit unfamiliar with the airport as well, so we'll take the taxi a little bit steady so we know what's happening. And we are parked at stand 252, so we are going to push back facing east. I'm just going to write this down as I do it, another VATSIM tip so you know what to say as you're doing it. So we're going to push back facing east on Quebec 6. We're going to take Quebec 6 on to Juliet, and then there's no need to say Juliet 5, Juliet 6, Juliet 7, etc. We're actually going to go Juliet, and then I think it's down to Kilo if we double check the taxi route. Yeah, so Juliet, and then Lima Sierra, and Kilo. We'll take a full-length departure today, which will take us on, we'll go all the way to Golf 12. We could have done an intersection departure, of course, but we could potentially have done Golf 7, which actually, do you know what? It would be very easy to rerun that calculation. Let me just see. Can we do Golf 7? How long is the runway? 07 right. Where are you? Takeoff run available. Do they not allow intersection departures on 07 right, or am I being blind and can't find it? To be fair, it's not the longest runway in the world, so possibly not. Okay, well, we'll stick with our calculations as they are, and we'll do full length. So full length departure then from Golf 12, and then on departure a right turn straight out, and then a right turn at 500 feet which then takes us to intercept 089 radial to Sukkot. It's an hour and a half departure, so the aircraft should be able to fly that. However, let's just double check what this looks like, because altitude constraints aren't always perfect in the sim, so we need to make sure that it does follow it. That doesn't look too bad. In fact, you can see that the 500 and then the right turn to intercept that radial. So I will allow the autopilot to fly that departure, but I'm going to be monitoring that incredibly carefully just in case it decides not to play ball. We'll disconnect the autopilot and I will hand fly that departure out direct to Sugal. And if I zoom out a little bit more for this this next bit, there we go. Right, so that's how we're going to do the departure. Oh, one other thing, there is a speed constraint, max 200 knots in the turn. I don't think that should affect us, to be perfectly honest with you. 200 knots in that turn is easily achievable. Having said that, we are very light, aren't we? So we may reach 200 knots because we are so light. So in that case, I am going to quickly pre-program that. What was our... oh, our clean speed is 200. Excellent. That's worked out beautifully. So we can fly at green dot speed. So we can clean the aircraft up, but we just need to hold 200 knots till we've completed that turn. There we go. Sukkot also being an overfly point. Let's just double check. It is marked as an overfly point there as well. Fantastic. So that's how we're going to taxi out and fly the departure. Emergency brief then. Standard Airbus emergency brief. It's a standard engine out procedure here as well, which commands us to reach an altitude of, once we're at an altitude of 1600 feet, we make a right hand turn to Lesba, and the inbound course is 273. So if anything went bang after V1, we'd fly out to 1600 feet, then we'd make a right hand turn and we'd hold at Lesba, and it's a right hand turn in the hold. So that's why we have Lesba there. Okay guys, apologies I'm not monitoring the chat too much as we're going through our departure brief, but that's all now done. In fact, I've just heard the beeps from the cabin crew to tell us that all the passengers are on board.
Hi Gavin, all the passengers are on board and we're ready to go. I'll bring you a cup of tea after we've taken off.
Thank you.
Okay, overhead looks good. We'll do a final couple of checks of some things on the box. Where have these clouds come from? It was a beautiful day a minute ago.
So it won't be long until we are Pushback. If you could please give the cabin crew your full attention as they go through the safety briefing, we'd very much appreciate it. So on behalf of myself and the First Officer, we'd like to say thank you for choosing EasyJet today, and we look forward to giving you a safe flight.
Okay, so we'll just do the before start checklist. So our cockpit prep is all completed. The signs are on and auto. It is, we've got 3 nav green. Fuel quantity is 5 tons and balanced. FMGS is set. Altimeter is 1028, showing 40 feet.
Cabin crew, we're about ready to push back. So if you could please open the door without cross check. Thank you.
Right, we'll lock the cabin doors. We can turn off the tablet, as it does help with frame rates. They're both linked. I did need to double check that they both were linked, so if you turn one off, it did turn the other off as well. Jetway has been retracted. Update from toolbar pushback. Hopefully this will help with performance some people have been having. So Murdoch says, what tips and recommendations do you have for those who have FPS drops on longer flights? Well, toolbar pushback has been the cause recently, but also the fly-by-wire version has been known. So if you're doing long-haul flights, perhaps stay away from the A320 for the time being. They have also said, though, that just starting the McDo server, whether you're using it or not, which means you can have the McDo on a tablet or external device, start it whether you're using it or not. That seems to relieve some of the problems as well. Blue1247, first time viewer, welcome to the channel, my friend Blue. Liking you already. Oh, Blue, thank you so much. Hopefully you're going to enjoy the flight with us as well. Let's pre-plan this pushback then. As you can tell, this is literally just being updated, so that's why I'm getting the information there. So let me just zoom out and we can see then where we're going to be going. So quite a long pushback actually, looking at this. Happy with that, and we'll request the pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by.
And whilst the ground crew are getting into position, we'll make our call on Unicom. Barcelona traffic, Alpine 3203, stand 252, pushing back, facing east onto Quebec 6. Simple takeoffs, obviously very, very sad news regarding China Eastern 737, but until further information comes, I just don't want to sort of fan the potential for speculation, so for now I think it's probably best to avoid that. Obviously very sad for all concerned.
We are cleared for start and push.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
So acupressure is in the green. Transponder set to standby. Before start, checks below the line. Then so windows and doors are closed and armed. Beacon light is on. Phone is on silent. Parking brake is set. Let's release the parking brakes and back we go.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
Okay, back we go. Let's start the engines. Paranoia check with the APU bleed. There we are. So engine mode selected to start and starting engine 1. Chaplain Baby, another new viewer to the channel. Just found the channel very interesting and thank you. Oh, welcome on board a live stream. Great to have you on board. Hope you enjoy the flight with us. Generally, I'm not got an actual date for the release for SimSmart. The developer is sunning himself for a week, but as soon as he gets back, it really shouldn't be far because we're pretty much there for the version 1 that we want to release.
A safety card is in your seat pocket, showing the exit routes, oxygen masks, life jackets, and brace position that you must adopt if you hear brace, brace. There are 2 emergency exits at the rear, 4 in the middle, and 2 at the front of the cabin. Floor lights
Look at that
guide you to
windsock.
an exit. Please be aware that your nearest exit may be behind you. In an emergency, leave all cabin baggage on board. Your seatbelt is fastened, adjusted,
Starting
and
engine
released
2.
as shown. It must be fastened when the seatbelt signs are on, and we recommend that you keep it fastened at all times. If the air supply fails, masks will drop from above you. Pull a mask towards you to start the oxygen. Put the mask over your nose and mouth. Hold in place with the strap. Pull on each side to adjust. Put on your own mask before helping others. If we land on water, take the life jacket from under your seat. Put it over your head. Pass the tapes around your waist. Click together and pull the strap to adjust. Do not inflate it inside the aircraft. When outside, inflate by pulling the toggle. If it fails to inflate or needs topping up, blow into the tube.
Okay,
There's a
pushback
light
completed.
and whistle
Please
for
set your
attracting
parking brake.
attention. We also
Parking
carry
brake set.
flotation aids for children.
Ground. Startup
Your
is
tray
complete.
table
You
must
may
now be
disconnect.
stowed, armrest down,
Roger. Good
window
engine
blinds
start.
open,
Clear to
and
disconnect.
seatbelt
See you at
fastened.
the side. Have a good
We wish
flight.
you a pleasant flight
Holding
with
position
EasyJet.
waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
I've not seen the ignition on the upper ECAM before. Maybe I've just not noticed it, so that's nice to see that that's implemented. Right, engine number 2 has got a good engine start, and we're saying goodbye to the tug. We can now do our after start flows, so we'll get the engine mode selected back to normal. APU bleed can come off. APU
Barcelona
master
traffic, Lufthansa 999 taxiing to runway 07 left via Lima, November.
spoilers armed, rudder 0, flaps 1, and we'll set our takeoff trim. On the after start checklist, so anti-ice is off, our ecam status is checked, pitch trim is 24.7, rudder trim is 0. Let's do our flight controls check whilst we're stationary. So full left, full right, and neutral. Full up, full down, and neutral. Rudder, full right, rudder, full left, and neutral. Okay, let's just grab the charts so we know where we're going. Just recapping that then, so it's going to be Quebec 6, Juliet, Lima Sierra, Kilo to Golf 12. Barcelona traffic, Alpine 3203, taxiing now from Quebec 6, Julia, Lima Sierra, Kilo to holding point Golf 12 for runway 07 right. Right, so get the auto brake on, and why have we still got the ignition warning? Okay. Anyone else having the problems with their Thrustmaster pack? For some reason, ignition start doesn't always return back to normal whenever I turn it. There we go, now it has. Pretty good that we've got the ecam warning there, then I can actually see it. We'll ding the cabin as well. TO config, and put the taxi lights on, weather radar, and wind shear. Okay, let's roll. That is an interesting taxi from the viewing. Just looks like he's doing a merry dance, to be honest with you. That's interesting. Okay, so we now take a right on to Juliet 6.
Barcelona traffic, Lufthansa 999 departing runway 07 left via the Agena 2 Tango departure.
Okay, let's do the PEDS checks. So, no change to performance. It's a flex takeoff. Flex 70, QNH 1028. Engine out procedure is standard 1600 feet right hand turn to the Lesbo holding point. Entry inbound is 273 right turns. Departure is the Agena 3 Romeo. And our stop climb altitude is flight level 80. Is that Transavia that's just come into land? Nice. Okay, let's do the before takeoff checklist. So, flight controls have been checked, departure briefing is confirmed, flap setting config 1, FMA and takeoff data, 129 blue, 132 magenta, climb nav blue, 1FD2, 8000 blue, flex 70. Transponder is set, ECAM memo, takeoff, no blue, EFB is stowed. Quite a nice straightforward taxi this. We literally just follow the taxiway right to the end. We can't go any further. And then left hand turn to hold at Golf 12. Full length departure for us today. Another aircraft landing. I'm either missing these Unicom calls or they're not making them. Adds to the realism though, seeing other aircraft coming into land. Let's see, who is it? What is it? Virgin Atlantic. Is that a Dreamliner or say, is he going around? Yeah, there's an aircraft on the runway. Well, I don't know if I've missed some calls, but I'm not quite sure what's happening there. I don't recall hearing anyone on approach for 07 right, so a bit more communication required there, I think. Anyway, what on earth is he doing? Oh, goodness me, this doesn't look good, does it? Always plan the go-around, because you never know what's going to be on the runway when you come into land. Not quite sure what's happening there. It seems to be banking left, but turning right. Anyway.
Cabin crew, if you could take your seats for takeoff.
Barcelona traffic, Alpine 3203, lining up runway 07 right for departure on the Agena 3 Romeo. So let's get all our lights on and the packs off. And transponder, not transponder, TCAS TARA. Christian, you didn't hear any either on Unicom. That's what happens when people don't communicate. So if anyone is thinking about getting into VATSIM, watching the channel, then there's your first lesson. Always communicate, because you never know what's going to happen. Let's not run over these runway lights, shall we? And always plan your go around. Now I can see on the TCAS monitor down below extra traffic, so just double check as there's some random aircraft around. What have we got? So we've got an aircraft 7,000 feet right in our takeoff line at the moment. There was an aircraft departing a moment ago on 07 left, so but he's 7,000 feet and climbing presumably. And I believe this is the aircraft going around. I don't think he'll be coming straight in for a landing. I bet he'll line himself up. So just watching that aircraft crossing over 7,000 feet shouldn't be an issue for us. Barcelona traffic, Alpine 3203, rolling 07 right. Okay, takeoff. Start the chrono. Setting 50% M1. Remember, we have quite strong winds as well. Engine stable, set takeoff thrust. Man flex, SRS runway. The speed selector on the FMA seems to be overlapping its text. V1, rotate. Didn't take long, did it? Told you, we're nice and light. 500 feet, that turn's going to begin. Nav. So there we go, I am flying this manually. So it's going to be ignoring the FMA for the time being. And set climb thrust. Thrust climb. Climb. We're going now direct to Sucos. Autopilot 1 engaged. Pack 1 on. So we've passed S speed, let's clean up. And we're going to hold 200 knots. Just for the moment. Pack 2 can come back on. We've made that turn now and we're towards Sukkot, so let's continue to accelerate away. Pop that into managed speed. See how thick this cloud layer is, and we'll consider putting anti-ice on. Temperature's just starting to drop. Looks like we're coming out of that cloud there, so can probably just about get away with that. No air traffic control around, so let's clear ourselves up to a higher altitude. We'll select flight level 200 for now. Let's pull open climb standard pressure. So we've got thrust climb, open climb, flight level 200 blue. Release the cabin crew.
Traffic, traffic.
This isn't good. I have a visual with him. We're safe. Always a little moment when the aircraft yells
Ladies and
traffic at you.
gentlemen, please keep your seatbelt fastened while the seatbelt sign is on. We recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated. Toilets are located at each end of the cabin. Remember that smoking is not permitted at any time. This includes e-cigarettes.
Well, it says Barcelona control just came online. They wish they were online when we were on the ground. It may have been a little less chaotic. So we've just passed 10,000 feet. Let's get airports on the EFIS. Get rid of the lights. And flight level 320 is fine and available to us. Let's go ahead and set that. Get ourselves up and out of here. Flight level 320 blue is now set. Happy to release the passengers, and we'll also clear the RadNav page out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has now turned off the seatbelt sign and you are now free to move around the cabin. We do recommend, however, when in your seat, that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times in case of unexpected turbulence. The toilets are now available. Please contact a member of the cabin crew if you require assistance. Thank you.
Barcelona control will ping us if they want us to contact, if they need us to contact them, but we're not really in their airspace for very long, so the fact that we're on our way out, they'll probably leave us alone and continue dealing with the chaos in Barcelona. Probably won't take us too long to get to our cruising altitude today, given how light we are. And Christian says it's a nice route today over the southern France coastline. Yeah, so if we just have a quick look at that, you can see our routing. It takes us up probably past Nice as well. So should get some nice views as we're coming in on the approach today. Quandilo, so you've missed Microsoft Flight Simulator for the last 6 months because of studying. It's now is now the A320 close to the TOLUS. Okay, so probably not in terms of failure management and that kind of thing, but for day-to-day flying, yeah, absolutely. You've got much more. You've got many more things and features being added, many of which you'll probably see throughout the flight today, actually. But yeah, day-to-day flying with a fully in-op aircraft, with a fully operational aircraft, yes. Some things sadly not operable, things like the weather radar and the terrain radar. Weather radar is at the beck and call of Azobo. Nothing fly-by-wire team can do about that until Azobo open that up. If Azobo open that up. We've got traffic ahead of us, about 32, 33 miles on trail. Get rid of the OFP for the time being. Condillo, it is unbelievably flyable. It is very, very flyable. It does far more than if you haven't been around for 6 months or so. There's lots of things have been added, so definitely worth checking out. Of course, the biggest thing you're going to have to do if you've been away from Microsoft Flight Simulator for 6 months is turn your PC on in the morning and let it update, because that could take you a day. And of course we've got another one tomorrow, haven't we? Sim update, sorry, no, world update number 8, which gives us Spain and Portugal. So we will of course have a stream tomorrow over Spain and Portugal, assuming the update goes smoothly, of course. Rodrigo, thank you so much for subscribing. Hope you're well. Quick look over the glare shield.
In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase from our selection of fresh food available today. Full details can be found in your in-flight brochure. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies, and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we could be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
There you can just see in the distance the coastline of Spain, and as we said a little bit earlier, we will be flying over the south of France a little bit later on. Lachlan Mitchell, hello to you. Hayden, is the update tomorrow night for us in the EU? So in the EU, depending on where, it's usually around 1600 hours Zulu time, so if you know where you are in comparison to that, then yeah, about 1600 hours. Will be interesting to see which airports get updated. Has anyone seen a list for them? I've not. That being said, I've not specifically gone hunting for it either, to be fair. Willie Canuck, Mondays. Mondays are great, aren't they, Willie? Back to work, away from all the chaos of life. Just looking at the Mediterranean down there, not a single white cap. Nice and smooth. Lachlan, what's the flight time? 1 hour 18 minutes. So we've got loads of time. We've got over another hour or so before we'll be on the ground. So loads of time to sit, relax, chat. Thin layer of cloud coming up. Oh, SAT is below minus 40, so don't need to worry about that anti-ice. Mr. Dino, you have a silly question? No such thing, Mr. Dino, as a silly question. Not on this channel. You know that. If the question's disturbing you so much, how can you remove the engine flight indicators from the external view? You've seen suggestions and can't find the actual options. Oh, this isn't in the control options, it's in the accessibility options. If you remind me at the end, I'll try and show you, but I can't pause the sim whilst we're flying. Wasbeck, is it possible to show how you manage to adjust the control settings of your yoke? Ooh, side stick. There's no yoke in this flight deck. But it's all done on the tablet. Default settings in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and everything else is done on the tablet in terms of the thrust levers and things like that. As for the yoke, side stick, whichever, itself, that can be tweaked through the default settings of Microsoft Flight Simulator, but really, depending on what you're flying, it tends to be pretty good. So, a couple of thousand feet to go. I'm already starting to consider now potentials for diversions in case anything goes bang, or a passenger gets sick, or a fight breaks out, as I keep reading in the news at the moment. So, where are we? Yeah, we're 30,000 feet. I'm thinking perhaps Nice will be a good shout as we're flying over Nice. Genoa as well. Willie, people are asking you silly questions and there's no possible way you would know the answer to, and they don't like it when you say how the heck could I possibly know that? Why are you asking me? That sounds like a similar conversation I have every day with my kids. Mac Alt Star. And Alt Cruise. Those passengers today are going to be getting first class treatment. All 96 of them, was it? Something like that? Not many people want to fly to Linate. Kim Chung, do speed constraints in the McDo flight plans make any bearing on the managed speed mode, as mine seems to always overspeed on approach or takeoff? If you are overspeeding, Kim, then something isn't right. It may be pilot error, I'm afraid to say, Kim. So if you're overspeeding, then you should really... I don't know, it's hard to see without the particular approach chart in front of me or anything like that, but as we did for this flight here, you can select, you can use selected speed if you're not convinced, if you think something's wrong with managed speed. Right, now we're now at cruising altitude.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, we're delighted to hear that we're now at our cruising altitude, and we hope to give you nice views throughout the flight as we have good weather ahead and shouldn't be experiencing any turbulence. Of course, this means that you will not spill any of your drinks that you may have from the cabin crew as they begin to start making their way around the aircraft. Could you please ensure that the eyes are kept clear so the cabin crew can offer you their cabin service, which will begin shortly. A reminder that EasyJet single pilot channel members are able to access free drinks throughout the duration of the flight. Thank you, and I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the remainder of the flight.
Barry, you have an ongoing problem with your fly-by-wire. You can't get the approach to engage in both experimental and dev modes. Currently checking it out on stable. Barry, you're not trying to do an RNAV approach by any chance, are you? Christian, you've not even reached the cruising altitude and you've already done your approach briefing. Now you can look outside the window. Oh, Christian, if there was a certain somebody here, you'd get a ruler for that. Right, so we're going to check out the weather in our destination airport, Linate, of course. We're also going to check out Nice and Verona and Genoa. So I've just sent that off. So now I'm at the cruising altitude. We'll have a look at our arrival and see how we're going to do that. Arthur, good afternoon to you. Hope you're well. Right, company messages come through, which means I can check out the current weather in Linate and see what's happening. So, Linate, wind is 170 at 4. Damn. That's the wind just messed up my arrival. Having said that, do they have a favoured runway? Let's see. Oh, an RMP to 1A. Do we have to? See if it says anything about favoured runways. Noise abatement, APU, low visibility. Yes, they're going to pay particularly close attention to low visibility procedures here at Linate, given their history. Surface movements. Runway operations. Use runway 36. Max tailwind component 7 knots. Dry runway or 5. Okay, excellent. So runway 36 is still our preferred. Whew. Thank goodness for that. So let's check our flight plan matches up, shall we? So we should have... There it is. So there's Jen, then Omoxy, from Omoxy to Mogmo, Limber, Dixer, and then from Dixer, let's just clear the discontinuity there. We have the arrival for Sorop. And then we're basically on the ILS then, aren't we? Christian, you briefed for 3-6 with a 4-knot tailwind. Yeah, obviously, as we've just read, that's fine. Until ATC comes on and tells you otherwise. I would hope if ATC came on and looked at the wind, they didn't just plump and say, oh, well, it has to be runway 18, because that wouldn't be realistic. I would be telling them no. So... what's our platform altitude there at Sorop? 3,000 feet at Sorop. Which is after Dixer, of course. Now, as we look at this, we don't actually have any constraints that we need to meet. What is interesting is that at Limber, the lowest we can get down to is 9,000. And then after Limber, it's down to 6,000, 3,000 feet in 9 miles. So that is very doable, but not if we're racing away too quickly. So I'm also now just looking next to me on the McDo just to see how far. So if we're 6,000 feet at Dixer, which is here, how many miles is it until we get to Sorop? Dixer to Sorop is 9 miles, so that's another 3,000 feet. Right, so you're basically on a nice 3-degree descent path all the way from Dixer. We got any speed constraints on there? Max 200 knots, so we're going to be green dot, potentially flaps 1 actually. At least flaps 1 by Sorop. So the plan will be... excuse me. So the plan will be... we will look to be at flight level 100 by Amoxy. From there, we can hold flight level 100, drop down to green dot. In fact, actually, once we've hit flight level 100, we can then start to drop down to green dot over those 11 miles or so. From there, we'll then get down to flight level 90 at Limber, and then I want flaps 1 out as we approach Dixer, leaving Dixer then potentially flaps 2. Now, speed restrictions on the approach. Let's have a look at the arriving aircraft brief. Speed restrictions. So 250 knots below 1,000, 210 on the base, 190 at 12, 160 at 7. So that's interesting. We need to maintain 190, 12 DME. Always worth just scribbling things like this down in front of you so you can quickly reference them. Alright, so let's work out our top of descent. I want flight level 100 at Omoxie. Let's pop that in. Oh, it's not an O, it's an A. Amoxie. A-M-O-X-I. Flight level 320. So we only need to lose 22,000 feet, which is obviously 22 times 3, 66. Don't need to worry too much about slowing down either at that point. We're going to reduce to 250 knots, but that's okay. So 70 miles will be fine. I'll keep an eye on the tailwind and we'll check the profile as we go. Let's get a radius around that. Let's check out what that looks like. See how far away we are from the top of descent. Oh, loads of time. Loads of time. So that's the plan. We're going to be 10,000 feet at Moxie. From there, we're going to hit green dot. We're going to start slowing down from Nogmo. We'll go down to flight level 90 by Limber. And then at Limber, we will get flaps one out. I want to be 190 knots actually, Limber, otherwise we're not going to make that descent in time and be able to slow down. 3,000 feet in 9 miles, a perfect 3-degree descent path. So the reason we're so high and then come in almost on a nice 3-degree slope from 9,000 feet onwards is it's to get us keep us high over this terrain just here. There's Genoa Airport as well that we just had a quick check on. So keep us up out of the way of that terrain. Okay, let's brief the threats then of the approach. Speaking as we speak of the terrain, obviously we need to make sure absolutely no lower than flight level 100 until Nogmo, and again that is because of this terrain. Minimum safe altitude, the Mora is 9,500 feet. Once we get past Limber, we're okay. MSA is 3,000 feet. If we have to do a go-around, the main threat is terrain. We can see there, 4,200 feet, and then we've got the Alps straight in front of us. Let's bring up the chart and we can see what the go-around procedure entails. So we proceed on runway heading, climb to 3,000 feet, and then at, call it 4 miles from the ILS DME, at 1,000 feet or above, we make the right turn, max 220 knots to intercept and follow the 103 radial to from Linate to Tukos. So what we're going to do as well, because go-arounds are stressful enough, not stressful, but it's nice, it's more stressful when you've not got them built into your flight plan. So what we're going to do is we're going to build that go around up so I can see a visual representation of it on the navigation display. So let's come down here and pop in everything we need to. So we're going to intercept the Linate VOR radial 103. And then we can pop on there 2 cars. We've already seen one go around in this stream. Did I spell that wrong? Oh yes, it's a Zulu at the end. And join holding. So the hold is nice and straightforward. Right hand turns, and the inbound track is 283. So now, if we have a look at the navigation display, we should be able to see that. We'll just scroll through. And yeah, there it is. So if we have a go around at 1,000 feet or 4 miles, right hand turn, intercept this blue line to 2 cars, and then we're into the hold. And then once we're happy, we'll come back in and set ourselves up for another approach. But terrain, the big factor here. Here comes the south of France. Jens, when flying a departure where you need to intercept a certain radial to a VOR, can you use approach nav mode with the localize button, or is that strictly for VOR approaches? Okay, so Jens, one thing that the Airbus can't do that Boeing can, is they can track a VOR. Airbus can't. Airbus can't track a VOR, so if you are having to intercept a certain radial to a VOR, then you either have to fly that manually, and I don't mean manually as in your hand on the stick. You can do, of course, but you would have to manually track it, either using the heading or track mode, or manually flying it. You can't tell the Airbus to fly a specific radial from or to a VOR, I'm afraid. Which approach is that anyway? Departure is that anyway, Jens? Most departures are all RNAV now, and even if no, they're not. They're built into the flight database, so don't have to worry too much about that. There may be some corners of the world where you do have to track VORs the old-fashioned way. DexEFS, is the performance calculator SimSmart still available for channel members? Yeah, middle and higher tier channel members, indeed. They are forming the beta group. And the only thing that's not working at the moment in this is the runway condition. So runway condition dry, wet, slippery, wet, contaminated. We're probably going to streamline this, and I may put this to a vote on our Discord a little bit later on. We can potentially delay the implementation of SimSmart by another couple of weeks whilst we get this added in, or we can release it and then we can sort of add this on as we go, sort of as an update. It's just, I'd love to release a pretty much finished product, but putting the runway condition corrections in is going to take another couple of weeks, I think. Not just that, but once we've done it, we've got to bug check it. Mr. Dino, the go-around holding on this approach, yeah, it has a direct entry. Here comes the expensive part of France coming up.
In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase from our selection of fresh food available today. Full details can be found in your in-flight brochure. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies, and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we can be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
Dexy, is it available for Android at the moment? No, not yet. No, initially it will be PC, then when that's all good and running, it'll get transferred over to Android so you can have it on your tablet. Just like the real world one. Ricardo, will SimSmart work for X-Plane as well? Oh yes, so it works for any A320neo, but only the Neo. I mean, obviously you can use it with any A320, it just won't be as accurate as it is for the Neo. Jens, you're on the Xbox, so a lot of times departures are inaccurate. Yesterday you pressed the lock button and on the FMA it said approach nav. Yeah, I don't think that should happen. You only get approach nav if you're doing an RNAV approach. Christian, you almost hit Alt F4 instead of Alt 4 for the camera view. That would have been your flight over. Is that an airfield down there? Or does it just look like one? Barnabas, thank you so much for subscribing on YouTube. If anyone is setting up a flight at the moment and needs a performance calculation done, then let me know and we can use SimSmart to do that. Just to finish the brief off then, the arrival is pretty straightforward. We'll be vacating, of course, at Golf, taxiing via Alpha, Charlie, and then Delta to the terminal. We'll taxi all the way around. So it's vacate Golf, left turn onto Alpha, and then park up at the end, presumably, if there's somewhere to park. Ricardo, would it work for the A321neo? No, different airframe. Looks nice down there, doesn't it? Oh, we can't quite see France out of the right-hand side. So I trust everybody had a good weekend. Did anybody do anything exciting? Lijo, you'll be doing a flight in a bit. If I would like to showcase some more, please do a calculation for me. Lijo, I can do that for you. I would just need... I'd need your takeoff weight, really. Takeoff weight and which runway you plan to depart on. Century Media Films, what would I recommend more at the moment? Experimental or developer? Honestly, I mean, I'm an experimental version. I'm not seeing anything daft happen just yet. The developer is always more stable. Christian, you say that Nice looks so good from high above. Well, there we go. Lijo, thank you for subscribing, my friend. Liam Shadwell, when's the calculator coming out? So the developer is currently away at the moment. We've got one last thing we want to try and add in, and as I just said a few moments ago, everything works now. Just the runway condition. Dry, wet, slippery, contaminated. I actually think we're going to streamline this because this is very detailed for a simulator. Very detailed indeed. And I mean, if it's contaminated, you need to use toga anyway. But obviously your V-speeds will be affected. Christopher Shaw, good afternoon. Hope you're well. So Nice is a little bit further ahead for us. Lijo, your planned takeoff weight is 6 foot. Yeah, you only need to know it to the nearest decimal place in tons as well. Remember, so not in kilograms. But we can do this for you, Lijo. So here you go. Obviously, this is based on the METAR right now, though. So where did you say you were going from? Lima Sierra Golf. So, from Geneva, using 04, current weather. I don't know what the METAR is in terms of its runway condition. I'm going to guess it's dry because Europe's pretty good at the moment. Anti-ice, I'm going to leave that off for you. What was the takeoff weight? Takeoff weight will be 647. Let's call that, just in case, we'll call that 65 tons. Always better to be conservative. Round up slightly. If you're in the fly-by-wire, that is going to be forward. Flex, config 1, and calculate. There's your V-speeds. Yeah, V-speeds should be nice and close together. High flex, considering a long, long runway. So there you go. Flex 70, 140, 140, 141. Don't take 04 left, because it's a grass strip. I don't think it would let you. What happens if you hit calculate for that, actually? Minimum flexes, yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Oh, the flex is not possible on this runway. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to let you do anything like that. To be honest, even if you decided to go toga and config 3, yeah, it's just going to throw errors up at you. Actually, if you reset that, because you do need to reset it between every calculation when you're changing a runway or an airport. If you're changing one of the options, you don't, but changing a runway or an airport, you will have to hit reset. Yeah, so if I do 04 left, just just try this, see what happens. It should actually be throwing up, that's something to look at, it should actually be throwing up a an error saying, don't be an idiot, you can't take off on a runway that small. And I have seen that message, so I don't know what I need to do to get that to... oh, hang on, I need a METAR. Yeah. Don't know where that message has gone. Something else to bug check and find. Dexy FS, there's no performance problems, and as long as you've got an internet connection, that is the only thing you need for SimSmart to work. Hello, Nice. Can we have a look at any aircraft down there? There's one. We've just heard him actually on the radio. Yeah, SimSmart isn't a resource-heavy tool. Quite the opposite.
News traffic from the 25 Romeo vacated runway 04 right, it's now clear to left.
Thank you, sir.
So our top of descent is at around 40 miles. I'm going to go ahead and just check the weather again.
East traffic from the 25 Romeo, taxi and cross runway 04 left.
Ladies and gentlemen, take full advantage of your tax-free allowances today and make some amazing savings with our boutique range. In your in-flight brochure, you'll find details of our award-winning selection of gifts, most with massive discounts, some of which are exclusive to you as an EasyJet customer. Make the most of your opportunity to shop and save from the comfort of your seat. If you'd like to see any products, have any questions, or would like to make great savings, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
So let's get that latest weather, and then we'll get that loaded in. So onto the ATSU, AOC, weather request. No, I've already done the weather request. I want to read the message. There we go. So winds are variable at variable at 1 knot. So winds are variable at 1 knot, cav OK, temperature is 14, and QNH is 1033.
From you, lead traffic, taxi via Sierra and Charlie.
So that transition altitude for us is 6,000 feet. And given that it is cav OK, it's going to be Cat 1, which is 537 on the barrel. Platform altitude is 3,000 feet. Minimum safe altitude, as we briefed earlier, is 3,000 feet, unless we do a go-around. This is runway 36, and just confirming we are on the Amox 1 Hotel with the Gen transition, Genoa. ILS frequency, we'll double check is in there, 10955. Yep. Airfield elevation is 337. And the missed approach is 3,000 feet. So, top of descent is in around 10 miles time.
Ladies and gentlemen, flight deck once again, you will be delighted to hear that we will shortly be starting our descent into our destination, at which point the cabin crew will start preparing for our arrival. If you could please make sure that all the aisles are clear, the cabin crew are able to make their way around the aircraft without any luggage in the aisles, that would be most appreciated. A reminder for our easyJet pilot members that free drinks are still available from the cabin crew until the sequence signs are turned on. Please note, however, that the toilets will shortly go out of use. Thank you.
Matthew, how you doing, my friend? Long time no chat. Matthew says, boy, I don't know, that's right on the edge of your personal minimums wind-wise. Yeah, there really shouldn't be too many issues on the approach. If something goes wrong, it's definitely going to be pilot error, isn't it? J-Hog, greetings from Whitby. Channeling your inner Dracula. Mark says, J-Hog, hope you've taken your big coat. The weather has looked absolutely gorgeous in the UK the last few days. When you sat inside looking out, then you go out and think, oh, actually, it's freezing. Right, so we're going to head down then. So initially down to flight level 100. Once we reach that at a Moxie, then that's when we're going to start heading down to Green Dot. Thrust idle, over to descent, flight level 100 blue. J-Hog, Scarborough was fine, and you brought me Ant back. Well, that's good, because you took her with you, presumably. You didn't drop her in the sea there, did you? Funny story years ago. I dropped my now wife in the North Sea. And it was December the 28th, so you can guess how cold that was. Paul Falco, have I been experiencing microstutters with the A320NX? Sometimes when touching down. We'll see how it is today. So we're happy with the brief. We know what we're doing. For anyone who's joining a little bit later on in the chat, welcome on board. So we're on the Genoa transition, and we're going to be flight level 100 by Amoxie. From Amoxie then we can start to slow down to green dot. We want to be green dot at Nogmo, and then we're literally on a 3-degree descent path all the way down on the localizer. So we're going to be at flaps 1 as we approach Limber, and flaps 2, speed 190 knots till 12 mile DME, and then 160 at 7 mile DME. And then we'll run out to the end of the runway and vacate on Gulf. Not going to use any auto brakes today. Decent runway length, 2,442, and we want to roll out to the end anyway, so no need for any of that. We'll wind the speed back to 270 knots, and then if we go to the progress page, and we'll actually just put in the waypoint that we're basing all this approach on, which is Alpha Mike Oscar X-Ray India, and then we can work out we're 50 miles away currently. And 50 times 3 is 150. Add a couple of zeros to that, and that would be 15,000 feet, and that is exactly how much we want to lose to get to 10,000 feet, which means we're nicely on our profile. And we'll just keep monitoring that as we head in. Terry, good afternoon, hope you're well. Should have left her in Scarborough, J-Hog. She wouldn't be moaning at you then. She can't hear me, can she? We did brief a nice clear day with high pressure, and that is exactly what we've got. Look at that. Beautiful. I do keep thinking I perhaps need to add in the Global Ships AI mod, because it would be nice to see a bit more traffic on the Med. Oh, J-Hog, if she can hear me, then you better definitely leave her then. Don't bring her back. Oh, by the way, guys, happy anniversary. I'll not tell people how long. Wedding anniversary today for J-Hog. At least I think it's today. It's with me, random A320 Neo question. Why do you disarm the ground spoilers during takeoff, only after fully retracting the flaps? I think that's just standard operating procedure. It's a good question, though. Right, I should have about 60 miles to... sorry, not 60, 30 miles to go, and as you can see, again, spot on, we got 30 miles to go. And 10,000 feet to lose, all is good there. Now, if the terrain radar was working, I'd most certainly have this on for this approach. Even though it's VMC, couldn't ask for better flying weather, could we? Where's that down there? Matthew says divide the distance by 3 for the altitude. Yeah, that's right. What did I do? Oh, I know what I did. Oh yeah, don't do what I did. I did 50,000 feet multiplied by 3. I went and got 1,500. I got 15,000 feet. Yes, I completely did a random sum there. Don't do that. We know we're on profile anyway. We just checked it. How many Airbuses do you know get to 50,000 feet? Not even the private ones get that high. And then the ground speed, you can halve it. Or at least that's what I do. Half the ground speed and just add a 0 to it. Just checking that we've no ATC on the approach. No, so we're going to remain on Unicom. Barry, if you've read somewhere that standard Airbus procedures are to disarm the spoilers at the same time as raising the gear, then clearly what I'm doing is airline specific. Might be a little bit bumpy, you know, coming in over this terrain. We know what Microsoft Flight Simulator is like with this terrain. Let's get the seatbelt signs on just in case. Okay, approach checklist. Seatbelt signs are on. Approach briefing is completed. Minimums are 537 and set. Engine mode selector is normal. EFB stowed. So we're now VS is 1,600 feet. Just to keep us nice and steady. I don't want to trundle along at flight level 110 for as long as for a long time. Just enough time to be able to reduce to green dot once we've done that. And then we'll be able to start heading down. Tell you one thing I can't find on this approach chart, and that is the big white arrow pointing to the highest bit. Normally all approach charts have them. Doesn't appear to be one on this this chart. Tabina SimSmart will most likely be released not this week, but next week, as we just try and add in some of the runway condition calculations. Even if we get just some basic ones in there, I'd like to have something in there before it's released. That's the only thing now that's not working. So here we go, 10,000 feet, and we'll get the lights on. Didn't mean to zoom in quite that close. Matthew, that's a good point. That is the star chart. To be fair, I thought some of the star charts had it on as well. Maybe not. Okay, we're at 10,000 feet. We're going to activate that approach phase as well. What a lovely approach this is. To be honest, when it's released, I will let you know. It's going to be downloadable from our website, of course. Right, let's select manage speed then. And start to drop down to green dot. Ooh, a little bit of wind there. Don't know if you guys saw that. We'll get the landing system on as we're going to pretty much be on the localizer as that comes in. MS, I am not using CBDLC on this flight, no. And that is just because there's no air traffic control on online. Welcome HD. See, I knew there was a reason. That makes sense actually. Try and disarm the spoilers and by mistake deploying them would not be a good move. Okay, as soon as we pass the next waypoint Nogmo, we get down to flight level 90 and then we continue that descent all the way down from flight level 90 and it should be a nice 3-degree approach all the way in. Probably one of the longest approaches we've ever done, to be fair. There we go. I want a green dot by Nogmo to help us get down. We're now passing all of the terrain. That's now behind us. So we should have a good visual on the airport, given the weather conditions. There we go. Right, let's head down flight level 90. We don't want to delay that any longer because otherwise we're going to be a bit too high. Thrust idle open descent flight level 90. Milan Linate, traffic Alpine 3203, landing runway 36, currently 38 miles out on runway approach. I didn't really want to say I was on a 38 mile final. Sounds a bit daft, but that is technically what we are. Matthew, that's got someone screwed this up in the past. So we changed the SOP. Speed alt star. Could have probably pulled VS speed for that, but that's alright. 5 miles and we are now going to start configuring nice and early. We need to maintain a 3-degree descent path and obviously don't want that speed to run away. Not going to pick the ILS up, of course, at 9,000 feet. Sun just starting to get low in the sky as well. Could be a rather scenic approach, this. And having never landed at Linate before, it's nice to do something a little bit different. Lachlan, I'm afraid I can't answer which one's better, Pack X or SLC. I've only ever used self-loading cargo. Right, let's start to head down. So we're going to get down to 6,000 feet. So thrust idle, open descent, set the gear, local QNH 1033, should have been on standby as well by this point. Down we go. Now we're on the approach. Let's just check what the speeds are for the go-around. There is a max speed on the go-around, of course, because of the terrain that we've got ahead of us. Max speed is 220 knots, so we could do that clean.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will shortly be landing. Please ensure your cabin bag is safely stowed with your laptop inside. Your tray table must be stowed, armrest down, and window blind open. You now need to be seated with your seatbelt fastened, ready for landing. Please help us by handing in any rubbish, newspapers, or magazines that you do not want to take with you. The toilets are no longer in service.
Okay, flaps 1, speed checked. Flaps 1. And we're just going to pull that speed. Not allowed to drop below 190 until 12 miles DNE, but we've still got about 25 miles to run. But there is a speed constraint on this approach. At Dixer, which we're just coming up to now. Actually, this is Sorup. Max speed is 200 knots at Sorup. So I'm not going to slow down all the way down to 190 knots. Perhaps a bit too far out for that. But just need to make sure. Otherwise we are going to be too high. So let's go now. Flaps 2. Speed's checked. Flaps 2. We're going to wind that now down to 190 knots. Otherwise we are going to find ourselves above the glide slope when that comes in. And the extra drag from flaps 2 is going to help us out now. And then at Sorup, that is when we want to be at 3,000 feet. We can see that coming up. Let's continue the descent down. Pop that in open descent, thrust idle, open descent, 3,000 blue. Can't see a runway yet. There's that glide slope. Right, let's just kill that descent rate as we're happily approaching that. There's lock start, alt glide slope blue, cat 3 dual, autopilot 1 and 2. Once we're below 12 miles, then we can reduce that speed. We need to maintain 190 max till 12 DME. So 500 feet per minute should allow us to capture that glide slope. We can see the missed approach path that we put on there earlier coming into display now. Milan Linate traffic Alpine 3203, established runway 3616 miles. Good to see HD.
Runway vacated and we'll taxi via Golf, Alpha and Charlie to the gate.
Just listening to the Lufthansa ahead of us. Good to see HD confirming 500 feet will work better. managed to get that in there just before the comment. And we can now see the runway in sight. Just be aware, of course, that wind is just light and variable, so coming from the right at the moment doesn't mean to say it will be once we're on the ground. Should capture that glide slope in a moment. Look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, let's start winding that speed back a little bit now. 180 knots should do the trick. Glide slope captured. Missed approach altitude is 3,000 feet, so that's set. 7 mile DME. Max speed is 160 knots until that point. Reminder about the go-around procedure. It's straight out 4.4 miles. Sorry, correction, 4 miles ILS DME, then right hand turn, and then track the blue line. Milan Linate, Alpine 3203. 7-man final, runway 36. Okay, let's pop that into manage mode. We'll start reducing speed. Gives a bit of a buffer to get the flaps out. So 6 miles DME, we've got the gear down, spoilers armed, flaps 3, speeds checked, flaps 3. This looks stunning, doesn't it? And this isn't an area of the world that has had any sort of upgrade. This is just default. Sarkotech, I can't do that particular video until something like the Phoenix has been released. Okay, let's configure flaps 3, not 3, flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin is secured, auto thrust speed, go around altitude 3000 set, ECAM memo, landing no blue. I have control. Ooh, taking that off even above 1,000 feet today. Must be feeling brave.
1,000.
1,000 feet to go. There's always a danger of... Oh, is that an aircraft on the runway? Where did he come from? Did I miss that call?
Traffic, traffic.
Yes.
$500.
He's coming towards us as well. Beautiful. Anyway, our approach is stable.
300. 200. Minimum.
Continue.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Spoilers deployed. Got reverse green. "70 knots, reverses off. And vacate onto Golf.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cabin crew will shortly be leaving their seats to perform safety-related duties. However, we ask that you remain seated until the fasten seatbelt sign has been switched off. Portable electronic devices for messaging, calls or internet access may now be used. Please make sure that you take all your personal belongings with you, checking in the seat pocket, underneath the seat and in the overhead lockers. Do take care when opening the lockers in case anything falls out. Smoking is not permitted until you reach a designated smoking area. On behalf of the captain and the crew, it has been our pleasure looking after you today. Our ground crew will help you complete your EasyJet journey. For the latest news, promotions, flight and destination information, check out our official Facebook page, Twitter or EasyJet app.
Linate traffic, Alpine 3203, vacated runway 36, taxiing via Alpha to the terminal. So Linate is a free airport from flightsim.to. Looks nice and colourful, doesn't it? First time seeing this, so great first impression. I think I prefer this to Malpensa, to be honest with you. If you've enjoyed the flight today, folks, please don't forget to hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on that notifications bell. Makes a huge difference to the channel, every like that we get, so thank you so much to everyone who has done that. And we'll take gate 02. Love that long shadow. It's gorgeous, isn't it, that? We've even got a marshaller, I think, at this gate. He's not stood in line with the taxi line, though. What a great airport. I like this. Very neat. Right, we're going to stop there, despite what the marshaller says, otherwise I am going to end up running him over. Parking brakes are set. Let's close those engines down then. And we shall go through our after shutdown flows. So engine 1, engine 2. Is Linate really as green as this? APU bleed needs to come on as well, of course. Thanks, COVID. External power, get that connected up. And set the transponder squawking 2000. Oh, it was squawking 2000 before, actually. We'd had no ATC today. And there we are. Welcome to Linate. I believe that's that'll be dark, won't it? Is that dark? No, that was Christian. Yeah, beautiful. Really trouble-free flight with great great weather all the way down. No wind at touchdown. That's what we like. One that we don't really have to concentrate too much on. And here comes the ground crew. Beautiful. Well, everybody, thank you so much for being on board with us today. Really enjoyed your company this Monday. Tomorrow, of course, there is the update. The sim update. No, keep saying that, and it is not. It is the World Update, isn't it? World Update number 8, which is affecting Portugal and Spain. So really looking forward to seeing that, and if we can get that downloaded and installed in time, we'll have a live stream tomorrow night where we'll check out some of the new updated stuff. So don't miss that. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell so that you know when those streams have started. Thank you so much to everyone who's donated, contributed, and as always, the EasyJet Sim Pilot channel members, thank you for your ongoing support. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. I hope you've all had a great Monday and enjoy the rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Goodbye to HD as well, and good to see you as well, Matthew, on the stream. Really nice to see you back on. Hopefully you've not been working too hard. Thanks very much, everybody. I look forward to seeing all of you again very soon. Have a great Monday. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself, the captain, first officer and the crew, I'd like to thank you once again for choosing to fly with EasyJet today. If you would like to become a member of the EasyJet Sim Pilot channel, please ask a member of the cabin crew or simply click the red join button to find out about all the extra perks that are available when becoming a channel member. We wish you a safe and pleasant journey from the airport, and we hope you have a great day. Thank you very much.